Afternoon everybody, welcome again to FFT. We're back down on Clearwaters on Kellet Lake. We've had a quick walk round. I'm going to give peg number 2 a try. Ideally I wanted to get in peg 10 but someone's in there, so peg 2 looks promising. I'm going to approach the session a little bit different than last time. Some different tactics, some different baits, but I'll go through that a little bit later on. Anyway, I'm going to get set up. Get the lead rod out, get leaded up, find some spots or a spot, and we'll get fishing. Now I've just had a lead about, found a lovely clear spot over near the far margin. It's about a rod length deep and it's at least 4 or 5 rod lengths left to right. So that's the spot. But what I want to do now, I want to bait it up, and there's actual some wrap runs around the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast my marker float to the spot, pop the marker float up, go around and bait up. And what a marker float is, it's basically my lead setup, it's on a boom. That's free running on the line. At the end of the braid, I've got a marker float. The idea is you cast it out, lead hits the bottom, you tighten up to the lead, so that you know you've got your lead, and you float about 12 inch off the ground, off the bottom, and then you let a foot of lead out at a time, and it raises the float up until it pops the surface. I'm not overly bothered about the depth because I've got a rough idea of what it is anyway. But this is more for a marker so I can bait around with it from the other side. Just to run through my approach this time out. Did a lot of thinking over the past week about how I can maybe try and catch a bite from this lake. And every catch report that I've seen and every person that I've spoke to, they're always fishing either with boilies, the odd person who said a bit of sweet corn, fished over pellet and particles. So what I've done, thought about introducing what is a good winter tactic, and that's using maggots. Now the thought behind it is, you can bait up far range with a lot less trouble from the seagulls and the ducks and the swans. And maggots are great in winter, but there's no reason why they can't be great in summer. I mean, fish love to eat maggots, and I think it's a method that's not used very often on here, so hoping it's going to give me the edge. I've got 48 hours to go at, although I did turn up a little bit late, but I'm going to get set up. I'll go you through some of the hook baits I'm using. I'm actually going to use some sweet corn on one. I'm going to use a mainline topper with some maggots on another. I'm going to use a wafter with some maggots as a topper as well. 2 of them I'm going to fish on Lecor leaders, which I'll take you through shortly, and they're going to be fished on chod rigs, which I'll take you through again. I'll probably also show you how to tie one up. It's dead straightforward, but they're really, really effective. I'm going to fish my wafter just on my standard leg clip system with an IQ D rig. As I said earlier, I found a really good clear spot at the rear. It's a good rod length deep and about 4 rod lengths wide. So the plan is for the 48 hours not to be picking little spots here, there and everywhere. The plan is to hit that spot. I want to try and get a bed of maggots down there, carpet the place. Because what I want to do is try and draw the fish in and then keep them there. And I feel that if I catch one fish, I do think I'll catch a number of fish. It's just getting that one fish. I think if I get them feeding, I reckon I'm in a chance for a decent couple of days. So that's the thinking behind it. Whether it works or not, I don't know. But I'm going to focus my area on that one spot. I'm going to give that one spot my full 48 hours. I'm not going to chop and change. I'm fully committed to it. and let's see where it takes me. I believe the lake has been fishing very well over the past week, and some of the big fish have come out, but the majority have come out for peg 10, which is where I wanted to be, but unfortunately someone's in there. But I'm going to give peg 2 a try. I spoke to the bailiff and I said there was 1 and 2 free and number 5 free, and he said if any peg, if them 3, he'd pick number 2. So I've took his advice and see if it comes up trumps. Well, I'm on my way around now to the wrap run. I got the marker float out, got my bucket of bait, and show you what the crack is. Well, I'm on the other side now, and I don't know if you can just see that just about there. There's my marker float, it's on the surface. And the intention is to spread a big bed of maggots all over the area. I'm going to be fishing 3 rods on it, like I said, so that's the plan. The tactic I'm using today is a little bit different than what I've been doing the past couple of sessions. I found out that you can actually fish with a leader on here, which is going to help. There's quite a bit of siltweed on the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm fishing 3-ounce lead to a helicopter style onto a metre long leader. A little bead there, and then just about 10-inch up I've got one of the Corda no trace beats. Fishing along that is a little choddy rig. The choddy rig, I just need to put a bit of putty around there, but what happens is the line goes in, finds its way down. You need a buoyant bait, finds its own depth, if you will, so it's fishing, it can fish over any sort of weed or anything. When you've got a little pop-up bait on there, it's just a little bit of putty around that serviette and a bait on. But that's a choddy rig. I'll show you to tie one shortly. Dead simple. The first bait I'm using on the little choddy rig there is one of those new little mainline toppers and 2 little pieces of sweet corn just underneath it. Topper's obviously going to give it a little bit of buoyancy. So I'm going to get that out now and we'll start fishing. Second hook bait, it's going out on a choddy, is again gone with a mainline topper. See that? There you go, a little mainline topper, and I'll just put a bundle of little white maggots on top. Obviously the topper's for the buoyancy, and the maggots will act like a little Medusa head. My third and final presentation. This is going to be fished on a lead clip with my IQ 2D rig, 12mm wafter. Now I've just put a few maggots as a topper on top of that. Again, let's see if it helps. I just want to just point something out about this fishery at Clearwater. In fairness, it's probably the best commercial fishery I've ever been to. Set out so well. I just want to quickly show you. I'm just going to spin the camera around. So that was peg 1 where I was last time out. Like, you're coming down here, peg 2, you greet with this, and all the pegs are the same. All the pegs are pretty much the same. Got a really big, hardcore area. It's well looked after. You never find any sort of rubbish on here. I mean, all the grass is kept. Everything's kept trim. It's fantastic. And you look down the bank in there, the next bivvy along, that's peg 3. You could fit another 2 pegs in there. And likewise with peg 1. I mean, you get all that water in that corner and the water in front of you. You could fit another 1, 2, 3 pegs in there maybe. And that's uniform around the lake. All the pegs are the same. You get a lot of water with each peg. The bailiffs are fantastic. They're always so helpful. They'll even point you in the right direction with spots and things if you need to know. You know, first time I came, he said, "Listen, 8 wraps here, 6 wraps here," and you lead about and you find them, no problem. Yeah, I'm really enjoying my time. I mean, it's my 3rd session here on this lake, and obviously it would be nice to catch a fish or 2, but yeah, it's just a testament to the place. It's such a well run, well manicured, plenty of space. It's fantastic. Yeah, what a great little fishery to have on my doorstep. Now made it to 8 o'clock, nothing to show as of yet. Rods have only been in water for about 2 hours, but it is bite time and it's also tea time. So what am I having today? Got the barbecue on, and what I've got down here is I've got some chicken and chorizo skewers and some pork belly pieces, like in a teriyaki glaze, straight out in a packet from Asda. I'll tell you what, they smell amazing. Got some Greek flatbreads to go with them. Job's a good one. And if anyone who likes a pear cider, this it's a Spar's own pear cider. It's absolutely beautiful. Problem is they go down a little bit too quick. Anyway, I'm going to crack on my tea and hopefully we can get some fish. Point. Finally. 18.9 it is. Well, 18.9, I'll do it again. Perfect, nice little mirror, 18.9. Off with the little white topper with some maggots. We're off the mark, finally. Happy days. Well, that was slightly chaotic. and meat was just ready on the barbecue, and the bobbin went, and yeah, as you saw, 18.9, nailed bottom lip. Halfway through I had to attempt to get all the meat off the barbecue so it didn't set on fire, which I managed and kept the fish on, which is happy days. I said I've only been fishing properly now for 3 hours. Fell to the little white mainland topper with maggots, over that carpet of maggots. My thinking seems to have paid off, as far as I'm aware, none of the other guys have caught anything all day. So yeah, I put the rod back out there. It was a middle rod. They're all fished within a rod length of each other, and as I stated earlier, once you get a carp feeding on a bed of maggots, they do tend to stay there. So I'm sort of half expecting maybe another bite very soon, but if I don't catch another fish between now and Saturday, I won't be that bothered, because I finally brought my Kellet duck and I am over the moon. So it's coming into the final probably half an hour of light. I've got a few fish showing actually in front of me, which is interesting. Still nothing. I thought I might have got another quick bite, to be honest, because as I said, normally when you get a carp over maggot, you normally got more than one. But no, got the rod back out, nailed on the spot. What I've just done, I've just put 4 spawns of maggots over each, or well, I say 4 spawns over each, but 2 over each rod, and then I spread a couple. There's 12 spawns gone up altogether. It's mainly just a blanket, just in case that blanket's been sucked up, which I don't think it will have been, to be honest, because I did put quite a lot in. So yeah, I'm just going to give it the last half an hour of light, and then I'm going to probably retreat to the bivvy. And I'm hoping to be stirred quite a bit between now and the morning. All the hard work has finally paid off. So yeah, so let's see how we get on. I'm hoping for more. You can never be satisfied in carp fishing. Good morning, everybody. 4:15, first light. Didn't have anything through the night. Bummies haven't moved. So, gonna have a brew. Don't want to have a little bit of breakfast yet. I might just wait for an hour or two. I might just get a brew, get back in my bed for a little bit. I'm awake anyway now, I'm up. I'm watching the water, see if there's any signs of fish anyway. Nice morning though, very, very calm. Apparently it's going to be quite warm today. So yeah, fingers crossed we can get some more fish. Got a heron poking around over where my rods are. Don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign. Nevertheless, it's there. All the ducks are following it, which is unusual. Just want to show you how to tie up one of the chod rigs that I've been using for this session. As I stated earlier, it's quite a straightforward thing to do. First up, obviously you need a bit of hook link. Got a bit of mouth trap there, chod filament. I'm going to take about 10 inch of that off. And then we need a hook, always very important when you're fishing. I have got here a size 6 Kamakura choddy, obviously unbelievably sharp. you'll notice about a chorley hook is that the eye is out turned, it goes away from the point. First thing to do, I'm just going to secure that with a knotless knot. So we're going to go through the hook, leave a tag end. I'm going to go, when I can get hold of that there. Oh, there. Where's that being over? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we go back through the hook. Secures that in place nicely. So you're left with something like that. Then take a little micro swivel. Place that on the tag end. And then we pull the main line back towards yourself. Push the tag end back through the hook. So you'll just manipulate that so it's forward, and you can see that. So you're left with that sort of shape. And then what we need to do is bring the longer tag end, which is going to be your hook link, out of the way. Trim that small tag end off, leaving about a centimetre. And very carefully, we're going to blob that there. Make sure you don't burn any of the line that's on the hook. That just stops the link pulling through. And what you're left with is that. Then what we need to do is measure the rig. I want them to fish about 2.5 inch, but when you pull these straight, they do stretch. So if we set it at 2 inch first, so we go from 0 to 2. I'm just going to put a kink in there, like that. Then we need a ring swivel with a hoop on the end, and that passes through the smaller part of the swivel. And we're just going to secure that in place with a standard granny knot, or 2 granny knots. So we're going to go 1, and then we're going to go 2, let's get a little rig pull up. Pull them much tight. Then we get the rig, the rig puller on the hook, one on the swivel. I'm going to pull tight, just make sure we test it, and I don't know if you can see there now, that is exactly 2.5 inch after it's been stretched. Next process, we're going to tag the tag end off where we've just done the granny knot, and again I'm just going to blob the tag end. Stops anything pulling through. Again, you've got to be careful not to. There we go, it's perfect. Again, just give that one more test after you've done everything. So, get hold of the hook. There we go. Roll that tight. That's solid. And then what we're going to do is get our thumb, and we're just going to slightly temper that line with the thumb, just to put a hoop in it. Now, what happens with that, you see, that sits on your leader, and it can run up and down the leader. We're going to put some putty around this swivel, and that's fished with a buoyant bait. So when it hits the deck, it's going to sit something like that. Bait above, hook underneath, and that will present over almost any kind of surface. It's a fantastic little rig, and as you've just seen, dead easy to tie. Fishing with 2 chorleys at the moment and a wafter on the bottom. I'm actually going to change the wafter for a chorley, so I'm going to fish in exactly all the rods exactly the same. Obviously with a chorley you need a pop up, so the chorley sits up, So what we're going to have is what I've got on at the moment. So I've got 2 white toppers from mainline, topped with some white maggots. That's what I caught the fish on that setup. I've then got 2 pinky red toppers topped with red maggots. And then substituting the wafter, I've got a 3/4 nail pop-up which I've topped the top off, and I've topped that with some white and red maggots. That will sit obviously in the water like that on the leader, up above in the water just like that. Now what self-respecting carp won't fancy that for the breakfast? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to reel the rods in. I'm going to go and get cleaned up, brush my teeth. I'm going to go round the back run. I'm going to bait up, put another bed of maggots down, come back in, rods back out, sit back, chill out. Fingers crossed, some more fish to come. Got to about 4 o'clock now. Not had anything all day. Been no signs of fish, no showing or anything. But in fairness, there were no signs of fish at all yesterday, up until about 7 o'clock. So I'm hoping the trend starts. What I'm going to do, I did obviously put quite a bit of bait in about 10 o'clock this morning. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to put 2 or 3 spods over each rod, and then a couple of in between, just to get baited up. Probably won't put any more baited after this until tomorrow. I'm feeling confident actually. Conditions are good, quite warm, but there's a bit of a breeze, but it's blowing again into this way, and yeah, it's, as I said, conditions are looking good. So hopefully we can snare another carp. Let's see how we go. Well, after seeing no action, I've just had a line bite on my green rod, then immediately after on my red rod, then on my blue rod, then on my green rod, then on my red rod. So there's something down there on that bait. Whether it's a carp or not, don't know. Could be some of the tench that's in here. Potentially a few roach, I don't know, because there are quite a bit of maggot down there, but either way there's something down there, and I am ready to go. It's gone to about 7 o'clock now. Still nothing much happened apart from the tench found my patch of bait and nobbled most of my bait off my hooks. So I've gone with some bigger pop-ups on each one. They'll fire back out, and now my tea's on. What we have in, I have got, we've got some chicken on the go there, nice spicy firecracker sauce. I've got some potatoes on the boil, and I've got a bit of salad in there that I've just put some Caesar dressing on. So it's going to be chicken, salad, potatoes. It's a little bit healthier for once. I think I've got a flatbread left over as well from last night, so I might just pop that on when the chicken is done. But anyway, fingers crossed for another bite. Oh. And there we have a little bit of bankside goodness. Firecracker chicken salad, root potatoes, a bit of Greek flatbread. Well, we've just gone midnight, and I've got something a little bit unexpected. Quite what we're after. Where's it gone? this. There we go. Oh. A lovely eel. It's about 3 pounds. Slimy. Very, very slimy. Off it goes. So that was a little strange surprise. I was watching a film and I fell asleep and I got woke up by the vibration. I still had my earphones in, and as you just saw there, an eel, probably around £3 maybe, which is quite a decent eel. Not quite what I wanted at this time of the night. Slimy as hell, tangled my lines, everything was tangled, and it had to be the middle rod, didn't it? So then I just had a very tricky cast to land my rig in between the two rods, but I think it's hit the spot. I know it's back out there. I'm just hoping there's not that many more eels out there, because I don't fancy doing that again. Good morning, everyone. What a glorious morning it is. Sun's high in the sky, not a cloud, it's warm. And apart from Eli the eel making an appearance last night, nothing else happened. Apart from the vibrations on my indicator every 5 minutes. Obviously eels or silverfish over that bait. That was one of my worries when I started to use maggots, but it did give me a carp, so I'll take it. I'll take a bad night's sleep for that fish. So, plan for today. The rods are out, I'm not going to move them. Probably going to introduce a little bit more bait, because that's probably been sniffled up now by whatever was out there last night. But what I have done, what I'm going to do, is I've just had a little lead out in front of me, just about 3 rod lengths out. Found a clear patch in about 6 foot of water. I've just dropped my marker float on the spot. I've made up a little bit of ground bait and I'm going to feed that spot. And the reason being is I've got some silver bashing tackle in my bag. So for the past couple of hours, I think I'm going to start a quick little fish for some roach and some tench maybe. See if I can draw any of the fish that was over my bait last night over this side. Just for a little bit of fun really. I'll just show you where it is. So the rod's just down there, led down. And my float is... Where is my float? There it is, just there. Just there, popped up. So I'm just going to introduce a bit of ground bait around that float. And go from there. See how we get on. So we're coming to the end of the session now. It's 11 o'clock. I've had nothing. So what I did about an hour ago, I basically packed all my gear away. I've kept one rod out and a little bit of floating gear. And I've moved from peg 2 to peg 1. There's a load of fish in the bay. They're just there basking. So I've just got like a little floating trout pellet on a little bolt float. 2 hours left. Just sort of pop it out there in the middle of the bay and see if we can get some off the surface, because I don't think there's going to be anything doing in the next couple of hours on the bottom. It's just too hot. So we'll see how we go. Well, the final shot is actually coming from my house. I've left the lake about 4 hours ago. I did do a final scene, which was stating that I packed up all the rods and I just left a rod out with a floater on, just trying to see if we can wingle something out of the shallow bay with the last hour or so that I had. Anyway, 15 minutes to go. Fish on. There's guys behind me, they've already bucketed my swim. This fish kited into a weed bed. We got it out into another weed bed. A guy ready with a net, a guy getting his camera out for some photos. And then it rolled in front of me. I got it out. I got it from the shallow bay into into open water. It rolled, and it was a big mirror. Anyway, it rolled on the line. It came off. I was gutted, absolutely gutted. So I chucked the rod on the floor in anger, which you shouldn't do because it is part of fishing, but hey ho. And I couldn't bring myself to do any more filming. I was absolutely gutted. And sat on the bank, and a few of the lads were there, and we had a look through a couple of the photos, and it was obvious that it was a fish that's called Taylor's fish. And it came out about 3 weeks ago, spawned out weight at I think 34 something. It was a lake record, so it would have put pounds on. You could talk it could have been about a 36 pounder, and I would have had my name on the target fish board as number one. Got home, I was still gutted. Just had a bit of fun in the garden with the kids. But yeah, that'd have been a nice lake record off the surface. I mean, come on, but no, it wasn't meant to be. But anyway, I still had the carp, 18.9, and I had a couple of eels through the night. So all in all, it was a good session, but I still can't stop myself feeling a little bit gutted. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have a few beers tonight, I think, to drown the sorrows. But anyway, if you've enjoyed the video, which I hope you have, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, comment on the bottom, and if you're feeling really generous, hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you all again next time. Thanks for watching.